CDL Practice Test, California, General Knowledge, Part 7. Question number 154. If your vehicle catches fire while you are driving, you should A. Increase your speed to put out the flames. B. Park where trees or a building can shelter your vehicle from the wind. C. Park in an open area. The correct answer is here, C. Park in an open area. Explanation. If your vehicle catches fire, pull off the road and park in an open area away from anything that might catch fire, such as buildings or trees. Especially avoid parking your burning vehicle near a gas station. Question number 155. You should avoid driving through deep puddles or flowing water, but if you cannot, which of these steps can help keep your brakes working? A. Turn on your brake heaters. B. Gently apply the brakes while driving through the water. C. Press both the brake pedal and the accelerator firmly after coming out of the water. The correct answer is here, B. Gently apply the brakes while driving through the water. Explanation. If you must drive through water, slow down, shift into a low gear, and keep applying the brakes gently to prevent water, mud, or other contaminants from getting into the brakes. Question number 156. Flags or lights are required on projecting loads that extend A. 4 or more feet beyond the rear body. B. 56 inches or more beyond the rear body. C. 6 or more feet beyond the rear body. D. 3 or more feet beyond the rear body. The correct answer is here, A. 4 or more feet beyond the rear body. Explanation. A load that extends 4 feet or more beyond the rear body of the vehicle is considered a projecting load and thus requires a 12-inch square red or fluorescent orange flag in the daytime and 2 lit red lights visible for 500 feet at night. Question number 157. What is counter steering? A. Steering in the opposite direction from what other drivers expect you to. B. Turning the wheel in a counterclockwise fashion. C. Turning the wheel back in the other direction after steering to avoid a hazard. The correct answer is here, C. Turning the wheel back in the other direction after steering to avoid a hazard. Explanation. In a quick turning maneuver such as recovering from a drive wheel braking skid or moving from the shoulder onto the roadway at a higher speed, your vehicle will tend to overshoot and keep turning in the same direction more than you want it to. Be ready to counteract this by turning your steering wheel in the opposite direction. This is known as counter steering. Question number 158. What is the most important reason for being alert to hazards? A. Law enforcement personnel can be called. B. Accident reports will be accurate. C. You will have time to plan your escape if the hazard becomes an emergency. The correct answer is here, C. You will have time to plan your escape if the hazard becomes an emergency. Explanation. The National Safety Council defines defensive driving as driving to save lives, time, and money, in spite of the conditions around you and the actions of others. Defensive driving is about anticipating potentially dangerous situations in advance, including driving conditions and mistakes made by others, and planning how to deal with those situations. To be a defensive driver, you must constantly scan for hazards all around your vehicle. When you spot a hazard, think about the emergencies that might develop from it and formulate plans to deal with them. Question number 159. If you feel drowsy while driving, what should you do? A. Open the windows for some fresh air. B. Drink a cup of coffee. C. Drink energy drinks. D. Pull off the road and get some sleep. The correct answer is here. D. Pull off the road and get some sleep. Explanation. If you are drowsy, the only safe cure is to get off the road and get some sleep. If you don't, you risk your life and the lives of others. Question number 160. What checks should you perform on the steering gearbox? A. Up to 1 stroke 4 of the steering parts may be broken. B. The steering box should not have mismatched, bent, or cracked lug nuts. C. The steering box should not be missing any nuts, bolts, or cotter keys. The correct answer is here. C. The steering box should not be missing any nuts, bolts, or cotter keys. Explanation. When you turn the steering wheel, the steering gearbox translates the rotation of the steering column into the turning of the wheels on the steering axle. When you inspect the steering, check that the steering box is securely mounted, neither it nor the hoses connected to it are leaking, and no nuts, bolts, or cotter keys are missing. Question number 161. What shape are placards used for transporting hazardous materials? A. Triangular. B. Various, but will always be yellow. C. Circular. D. Diamond. The correct answer is here. D. Diamond. Explanation. When transporting a hazardous material, harmful to health, safety, and property, your vehicle must be placarded. These placards are diamond-shaped. Question number 162. Controlled braking. A. Involves locking the wheels for short periods of time. B. Can be used while you are turning sharply. C. Is used to keep a vehicle in a straight line when braking. The correct answer is here. C. Is used to keep a vehicle in a straight line when braking. Explanation. In controlled braking, you apply the brakes as hard as you can without locking the wheels, keeping movement of the steering wheel to a minimum. Question number 163. While driving, ice builds up on your wipers and they no longer clean the windshield. You should A. Stop safely and fix the problem. B. Keep driving and spray the windshield with washer fluid. C. Keep driving and turn your defroster on. Drive slower until you can see again. The correct answer is here. A. Stop safely and fix the problem. Explanation. If your view through the windshield is obscured because your windshield wipers aren't clearing the windshield, pull over as soon as possible and fix the problem. Remember, if you can't see, you can't drive. Question number 164. You are checking your tires for a pre-trip inspection. Which of these statements is true? A. Radial and bias ply tires can be used together on the same vehicle. B. Tires of mismatched sizes should not be used on the same vehicle. C. A tread depth of 2/32 inches safe for the front tires. The correct answer here, B. Tires of mismatched sizes should not be used on the same vehicle. Explanation. Tires should never be mismatched in size or type. Radial tires and bias ply tires should not be used together on the same vehicle. Steering axle tires must have a tread depth of at least 4/32 inch. All other tires must have a tread depth of at least 2/32 inch. Question number 165. When should you downshift an automatic transmission? A. When going up grades. B. When going around curves. C. When going down grades. The correct answer here, C. When going down grades. Explanation. To use engine braking on a downgrade to control the speed of a CMV with an automatic transmission, select a low gear range that prevents the transmission from shifting up beyond the selected gear. Question number 166. During a 7-step inspection, checking the engine compartment does not include checking A. The engine oil level. B. The coolant level in the radiator. C. The battery fluid level. D. The oil pressure gauge. The correct answer here, D. The oil pressure gauge. Explanation. Checking your engine compartment consists of checking several fluid levels contained within. The oil pressure gauge is checked in a different step. Question number 167. How far ahead do most good drivers look, according to the handbook? A. 7 to 12 seconds. B. 12 to 15 seconds. C. 10 to 12 seconds. D. 5 to 10 seconds. The correct answer here, B. 12 to 15 seconds. Explanation. Good drivers look ahead for 12 to 15 seconds. That is, the distance that the vehicle will travel in 12 to 15 seconds. At highway speeds, that could be about a quarter of a mile. Question number 168. Which of the following provide extra gears on some trucks? A. Auxiliary transmissions. B. Multi-speed rear axles. C. Both auxiliary transmissions and multi-speed rear axles. The correct answer here, C. Both auxiliary transmissions and multi-speed rear axles. Explanation. Multi-speed rear axles, which tend to be less common in today's CMVs, and auxiliary transmissions provide additional gears that you can select while you drive. Question number 169. Which of these is not a cause of skidding? A. Overbraking. B. Oversteering. C. Driving too quickly for road conditions. D. Turning round a sharp corner. The correct answer here, D. Turning round a sharp corner. Explanation. Over-acceleration, over-braking, and oversteering all cause skidding. Turning round a sharp corner, however, does not. Question number 170. Where should your ignition key be during your pre-trip inspection? A. On the dashboard. B. In the ignition. C. Pocket on the door. D. In your pocket. The correct answer is here. D. In your pocket. Explanation. Make sure the parking brake is set, turn off the engine, and take the key with you when you are not in the cab during your vehicle inspection. Question number 171. Which of these is the most important thing to remember about emergency braking? A. Disconnecting the steering axle brakes will help keep your vehicle in a straight line. B. Never do it without downshifting first. C. If the wheels are skidding, you cannot control the vehicle. The correct answer is here. C. If the wheels are skidding, you cannot control the vehicle. Explanation. In an emergency, avoid hard braking. Hard braking can lock the wheels, which may cause a skid and loss of control. Instead, use stab braking, unless your vehicle has anti-lock brakes, or controlled braking. Question number 172. Which of the following is not a type of retarder? A. Electric. B. Robotic. C. Hydraulic. The correct answer is here. B. Robotic. Explanation. There are 4 basic types of retarders: electric, engine, exhaust, and hydraulic. Question number 173. If you do not have a CB radio, what is the first thing you should do at an accident scene? A. Clear the area. B. Protect the accident scene. C. Flag down help. The correct answer is here. B. Protect the accident scene. Explanation. At an accident scene, first protect the accident scene to help prevent another accident. Pull your vehicle as far away from traffic and as close to the side of the road as possible. Set out warning devices such as reflective triangles. Question number 174. With a back of, most people lose consciousness, and some die. A. 0.1. B. 0.4. C. 0.16. The correct answer is here. B. 0.4. Explanation. Most people with a back of 0.40% will pass out. Some will die. Question number 175. What should you do if a car coming toward you at night keeps its high beams on? A. Look toward the right edge of your lane or the right edge of the road. B. Flash your high beams at the other driver. C. Slow down and look straight ahead in your lane. The correct answer is here. A. Look toward the right edge of your lane or the right edge of the road. Explanation. If an oncoming vehicle has not dimmed its headlights, don't retaliate with your own high beams. Instead, Slow down. Keep right. Look away from the vehicle. And steer by the right edge of the road until the vehicle has passed you. Question number 177. When you are parked along a divided highway, at what distances should you place your warning devices? A. Warning devices should all be placed within 50 feet of all sides of the vehicle. B. The warning devices should all be placed evenly within 100 feet of the vehicle on each side. C. Warning devices should be placed at 25, 75, 150, and 200 feet in the direction of oncoming traffic. D. Warning devices should be placed at 10, 100, and 200 feet in the direction of oncoming traffic. The correct answer is D. Warning devices should be placed at 10, 100, and 200 feet in the direction of oncoming traffic. Explanation. When parked along a divided highway, you should place your warning devices at 10, 100, and 200 feet toward the direction of oncoming traffic. Question number 178. To give adequate warning when passing someone, you should A. Tap the electrical horn first. B. Use your high beams until you completely pass. C. Signal early. The correct answer is C. Signal early. Explanation. Whenever you are about to pass a vehicle, pedestrian, or bicyclist, assume they don't see you. They could suddenly move in front of you. When it is legal, tap the horn lightly or, at night, flash your lights from low to high beam and back. Question number 179. Which of these is good to do when steering to avoid a crash? A. Apply the brakes while turning. B. Steer with one hand so that you can turn the wheel more quickly. C. Do not turn any more than needed to clear what is in your way. The correct answer is C. Do not turn any more than needed to clear what is in your way. Explanation. To avoid a crash or other hazard, keep both hands on the steering wheel so you can turn as quickly as possible. However, turn just enough to avoid the hazard. A too sharp turn risks a skid or rollover. While turning quickly, avoid braking. This too could cause a skid.